with elections out of the way, ministers, especially TDP's Chandrababu Naidu and JDU's Nitish Kumar, are clamoring to get their demands in place. Cabinet berths apart, both ministers are asking for special status for Andhra and for Bihar. Naidu's unfinished special status versus the special package demand is back on the table as both ministers are crucial NDA allies. But before we do that, let me give you a quick overview of what the term special status means for a state. Now, the rationale initially was that certain states, because of inherent features, had low resource base and could not mobilize resources for development. So some of the features that were earlier required for a state to get the special status was if it had hilly or difficult terrain, if it had low population density or a sizable share of the tribal population, its strategic location, if it was located along borders with neighboring countries, if it was economically or infrastructurally backward, or non-viable nature of state finances, if the state finances were not enough by itself and the state needed help from the center for its functioning. Now, to discuss what it means in today's context, I'm joined by Govinda Rao, former member of the 14th Finance Commission and former director of NIPFP. Mr. Rao, thank you so much for taking time out for us today.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So, to begin with, if I'm not mistaken, the 14th Finance Commission was when we did away with the concept of special status for states as we knew it then. Tell us a little bit about what had happened then and what special status in today's context means.
First of all, let me tell you that it's an incorrect perception that the 14th Finance Commission did this work. In fact, I wrote immediately up, sometimes in 2018, an article in Hindu, where I, with the title Bifurcation and Blame. This is the title of the article that I wrote, where I clarified that the 14th Finance Commission had nothing to do with the deciding or otherwise on the special category status. What 14th Commission did is that as far as, in fact, you see, the special category status is a creation of the National Development Council and the Planning Commission. And Finance Commission had no mandate for that particular thing. There was no term of reference asking the Finance Commission whether a particular state should be given any status or otherwise. What the 14th Finance Commission did was to say that for us, all the states are special. We look at the resources availability and the expenditure requirement. That means fiscal capacity and expenditure need, and go by that particular concept, which is basically our job, which is the constitutional job assigned to the Finance Commission. So there was no question of Finance Commission deciding, but then, we did make a statement that in making the assessment, we do not make any distinction between special and non-special category states. We assess according to the resource availability and expenditure requirement. So obviously it is a wrong perception that Finance Commission made this recommendation. Finance Commission did not make this recommendation because Finance Commission did not have any mandate to make this recommendation.
Got it, all right. But did the Finance Commission not sort of overhaul the benefits at that time? And what eventually happened was we began seeing greater devolution of taxes and special assistance, financial assistance by way of, greater flows to some of these states. But I do want to understand currently, what are the benefits a state gets when it is accorded special status?
The clamor for special category status at that time was, when the Finance Commission started, around that time was that when the Planning Commission existed, 90% of the plan assistance used to go to the special category states as grants. In respect of others, it was 30% grant and 70% loans. But then, at the moment, obviously there are no plan assistance. You have the centrally sponsored schemes. For the centrally sponsored schemes, for the, of course, they are categorized into, sort of various categories. But then for the general category of the special category schemes, the assistance is, for the special category states, 90% grant and 10%, 90% from the central government and 10% from the state government. Whereas for the general category states, it is 60 by the center and 40 by the states.
Right.
So there is a certain amount of advantage there. Apart from that, something like 30% of the central government spending is generally earmarked to the special category states.
Right.
But if you increase the number of special category states, each individual star of the special category states will come down there. So other than that, there is not really a great deal of benefit. But obviously, this is, the both, in the case of Andhra Pradesh, when the bifurcation took place, Telangana was given the special category status and Andhra Pradesh was not. If it is the recommendation of the Finance Commission, how did they give special category status to Telangana and not Andhra Pradesh? So it is only a political convenience to blame Andhra Pradesh for a thing which they didn't want to do. So since they have broken the overall norm which you mentioned earlier, as far as the Telangana is concerned, obviously it becomes a cabinet decision or a cabinet resolution to give the special category status. So obviously, but once you start giving it to Orissa and once you start giving it to Bihar and Andhra Pradesh, immediately the Orissa is going to up its arms, and there will be Rajasthan, there will be Chhattisgarh, there will be Jharkhand, there will be Madhya Pradesh. So obviously it is going to open up the Pandora's box.
Right. So just to go back on what you're talking about, would it be fair to sort of say that at this point, we do not have very clear-cut criteria to accord a state a special status? Is that right?
No, by giving it to Telangana, they have diluted that.
Got it. Okay. And also
and
following
as far
up,
as the transfers are concerned, there is another thing. I mean, you said that 14th Finance Commission made a significantly higher transfers. This is not really true again. It's in fact, I had given an interview at that time with the, CNBC 18. Basically, Finance Commission had to take into account the transfers which were earlier given by the Planning Commission. So you have to add to what the Finance Commission gave to the Planning Commission plan grants, and obviously the numbers are more. And then of course there was some increment, but then not as much as it is made out to be from 42% to 32% to 42%. It is 32 to somewhere about 36, 37%. So there was some marginal increase.
Got it. Okay. So, you did talk about how, given the current context, if, say, possibly Bihar or in Andhra Pradesh is accorded special status, there's no reason other states will not queue up asking for the same. Bihar, of course, we do know that it does suffer from low per capita income. It does not rank very highly on a whole host of socio-economic indicators. But given both the state finances, how would you look at both the states on a case-to-case basis for according them special status? What are your views on that?
There is certainly no case for giving it to Andhra Pradesh.
Okay.
Because it is not a state with a low tax base. It is not a low development state. It is not, there is no tribal population, overwhelming proportion of tribal population or a hilly area. It is not a border state. But Bihar, again, is, comes by virtue of, in fact, by virtue of its lowest per capita income and social indicators. But then it is the lowest per capita income, and even in other social indicators, it is low. The next to Bihar is actually Uttar Pradesh. But the Uttar Pradesh will certainly ask for it. In terms of per capita income, the second lowest per capita income state is Uttar Pradesh. Then you have Jharkhand. But then Jharkhand has, and in fact, one of the reasons why Bihar has been asking is when Jharkhand was separated, much of the mines, sort of minerally rich areas were taken away by Jharkhand. So obviously their resource base is much better. So you have a lot of this thing. At the end of the day, it is a political economy question. And having given it to sort of Telangana, there will always be questions: why not Andhra Pradesh and why not other states?
Got it. So it does put the government in a little bit of a spot then, right? Especially given some of the goals we've seen the previous government work with in terms of its fiscal consolidation path or debt reduction. A whole host of some of these states anyway don't fare particularly well on those fronts. And according to them, special status would mean that the government would then have to accept the fact that these states' fiscal finances could weigh on the center as well. Is that sort of the right way to look at it? It does put the government in a little bit of a spot.
No, as far as fiscal health is concerned, in fact, Bihar does not have, at the moment they have a lot of stress, but by and large, there is not a state which had a consistently very high revenue deficit and fiscal deficit. But then, that's because they have not been spending money either on education or healthcare or in many of these things, because they don't have the money. So they were in a low level equilibrium. But it is not going to really make a great deal of difference as far as the union government is concerned, because they have been spending so much of money in Uttar Pradesh and many other states. Orissa actually has the best fiscal indicators. In fact, they have been consistently having revenues surplus. Andhra Pradesh fiscal situation has deteriorated a little, but then, particularly in the last 2-3 years, obviously this will help them if it is given, but not so much as it is made out to be, because the centrally sponsored schemes is the not major area of the transfers. And the Finance Commission is not going to make any, so transfers is not going to make any difference.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Mr. Rao, for joining us. That was truly enlightening.